So I made some more adjustments to the hinges that install on the B pillar. And this is what we got. So that's about as close to 90 as we can get. I can make a couple more adjustments on the bodywork on the door. So welded the tabs on so I can hang the door, so I can put the hinge brackets inside the door for mounting purposes. But I put this one too far out, and so it's bent, so now my alignment's off. I got there's a little bit of adjustment in there. When you weld everything in, you could probably get it right. But it would be easier to just do this in the beginning. So I'm gonna have to cut these off. Actually, what I really need to do is just cut this one off, move it closer, and I'll be fine. I think. This is, 18 gauge is kind of thin, it's a little bendy, so the closer it is to the other side, the better it's supported. You could use a thicker gauge, I guess, but then again, you're welding into 18 gauge, so, you got to be careful about burning holes. I mean, not that holes don't matter, there's fucking holes everywhere, right? And a big, huge rust line on the bottom that has to get fixed. So, we're going to get all of that too. But, one thing at a time. I got the back lined up where I want it. This part is problematic because of this belt line, right? This side doesn't have the door lock, right? So on the other side there was a door lock, and this was kind of protruded a little bit. So now we got to be even more careful, because we're going to have to get this underneath that, on top of that, in order to get it to open out without interfering. And you can't see it, but, well, yeah, you can. Gotta be careful, or I'll drop the whole thing. So, I had to cut the end off of this, dish this in, and this all had to be cleaned up later. But, this is the beginning of the process in order to get it around there. To get it around here in order to get it around here. Let's review. So that was our first attempt, right? And we matched those dimensions to these dimensions. And then I put that door in, and it's functioning. And then I thought, let's move it closer, get the pivot point closer, and we'll get more throw. That was a failure. Didn't work at all. Couldn't even get the door open. So then I moved it back. You can see I moved it back to this far, and it wasn't opening far enough. So what I did is, this hinge is the bottom of the hinge is resting on the outer panel here. There's no clearance, but there's nothing moving, so it's okay, because it's pinned from the inside. And the rotating part doesn't touch the panel. Let's review again, okay? This is the third mount on these hinge brackets. We're going to call these hinge brackets, and we're going to call these hinge arms, okay? So over there, temp number 1, the distance from this back edge to this back edge is 32 millimeters, 28 millimeters. That got us 32 inches open from the edge of the cab to the edge of the door. This iteration, this abomination, this attempt got us 35 and a half. So what's the difference? 39, 32. Let me write that back. I'm gonna write that down. 39, 32, 32, 28. So we go back further. This hinge mount, the bottom part with the nut on it, is touching the stem. Okay, so that gets us closer here. That got us closer there. And then we went further back, and that got us 35 and a half inches of open. So plus 3 inches. Does that mean going back further gets us more? I don't know. It's possible. The problem we're going to run into is this starts to curve, right? So the further back we go, the further out, the further away from this part, the further away from this part, the hinge is going to go. Is there a sweet spot? I'm sure there is. But I think 35 and a half inches of opening is enough to get in and out of the truck comfortably. Closer to the outer door skin, better for opening purposes on this model truck. We're welding on the door, so the door needs the ground. I've got a little bit of adjustment built in to my hinge placement for some back gap, but this is going to be good to start. See if we can clear and open. This holds my door into place on the back end where the hinges are going. The front's still pretty much lined up. It's down like a 8, but we can take care of that later. Oh shit, don't trip. It's tight fit in here. Remember, you gotta leave room for the window to go up and down behind this, right? Unless you're gonna seal the window shut, but I don't recommend that, even though it's been suggested. On the bottom, not so much, because it'll come down about that far. So this one is good. This is gonna be flimsy, so we're gonna tack it in and then see what happens. So when we come open, that's because of the wobbly on the bottom. We're getting all the way back to there. I mean, it can touch, right? We don't want that, so we're going to be like right there. This bottom edge right here on this top shell sticks out too much. This piece is caved in too much. This whole thing is not straight. It's like this. You can see how this waves in a bit. If we try to line this up with a straight edge, see how it's up here? So I'm going to need to straighten this first. Get this kind of straight as part of the experiment to get past over here. Well, here we are, right here. Because this piece is kicked out a little bit. I'm not ready to hard weld everything yet. Do some more fitting, some more adjusting. I may have to bend this door a little bit, which is normal. But I'm going to start right here. Let me make this straight. I'll be right back. Again, this is 18 gauge. If you go too much, you're gonna split this bend. Okay? Not that big a deal. You can tack it back up and then sand it back down. So, a light maybe. You can see the shiny part. And then it dulls out. So the dull spots are going to be the low places. But we're good here. Low there. Alright? But I don't want to go too much in here, because you'll screw it all up. And this little jobber right here is what's hitting right here. So I can probably take that edge off. I did it on the other side. It's just this single outer panel, and then we sealed up the inside and blended it in on the passenger door. So let me take this off, and then we'll get back to it. So the door's on. Don't stare at this too much. It's just sticking out. I can fix that. What we're looking at is right here. That bottom hinge is flexing a lot. So see, we got a rub right here. And we come out, and this little piece right there. And then we get to, this is like full open, because we're hitting here, 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 and here. And probably right there. Let's try our highly scientific door gap measurer. So I'm going to have to tap this just a little bit. And this is going to get moved in a little bit. And it might be hard to see, but here's part of what you're looking at on the back side. See this panel? See how it's flexing? That's your door gap flex right there. Oh, fuck! Second time I hit my head. So once we get this braced and welded, we'll probably be able to make up for this. Got a lot more welding to do on that. Got to put the electronics inside the power window. We've got to switch the door lock or the door opener and the window opener and all that other stuff. But going to do some welding on bracing that up, and then we'll get it fitted and adjusted where it opens it that wide. We'll be good. So I don't even know if this is going to work, but